Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mystic Monday. It's Monday again, and we love Mondays because of this show. And this is a live show where we talk about everything spiritual. You can join the panel, you can call in and share your experiences with us, ask any questions. We're here for that. We welcome that. This is a safe haven. And thank you for being here. And please don't forget to click that like button and subscribe to the channel, because that really helps sort of like for us to have more exposure and also to reach out to more people. Right, so today's topic, I think everyone's really excited about this topic, including myself, because this is a very controversial topic, and it's all about how to spot a fake psychic and a fake tarot reader or a fake medium, because there are lots of them out there, unfortunately. And the problem is that these scammers, these people that scam people, like innocent people, from millions or thousands or even millions of dollars, euros, yens, whatever currency it may be, because this is happening all over the world. And they're just giving a bad rap for the rest of us. And that's really not fair, because we are actually doing, divine work here. We're on this earth. We're here to help people, to guide them, to help them connect with their spiritual side and even their deceased loved ones. And it's absolutely unfair that there is a minority of people out there, or it could be a majority of people out there that, they're just creating such a bad vibe and energy around the words psychic or tarot readers or mediums. So this is what we're gonna be talking about today. Jenny, you have a very interesting story to share.
Yeah, I do about psychics, and more so scammer psychics.
Right.
And I'm excited to hear from you today about the red flags to identify which ones are and aren't, because I still feel very new to spirituality and talking to psychics. What I use is my intuition and discernment to try and feel whether this person is actually doing something for my best interest or whether they want to get something from me. And sometimes they use fear. Basically, they're looking for money. Some people are looking for power. Some people just have ulterior motives that we don't understand. So I do have someone close to me. When you have lost someone, especially when you're a widow, unfortunately, you kind of join the Widows Club, which isn't a club you ask to join. You just kind of get put there, but you understand one another. But sometimes you get taken advantage of, and especially if you're a widow that has like excess amount of money, or you may suspect that they do, you get a lot of people that are drawn to you, and psychics are one of them. So someone close to me had a situation like that as well, and you just want to look for the red flags, and you also want to look for ways to help people that might be in that situation.
Absolutely. And I think a little later on, if you don't mind sharing, how was this person scammed? How did they convince this person to keep going back, or to send money to them, or even share information with them? That's really important for other people to hear as well, in order to protect themselves. But before we start, I'd like to say hello to the chat. Hi, I can see London Girl is here. Hello. I'll just bring her up. Oh, that's so sweet. Original Dalston Girl is London Girl. Dana, part of our panel, is here. Cooch is here as well. Who else? Let me see. Hi, Shan.
Am I the only one that sings the song, the Cooch song? Maybe Dana knows the Cooch song. Shan knows it. we
I don't know the song. What's the song?
It doesn't matter, but Cooch the Cream understands. She is
You'll get us singing, Cooch.
I don't sing, so I'm not going to sing, but Shan can sing if she ever comes on.
Tammy's also here. Hi, Tammy. Thank you for being here. Let me just go through and see who else is here. Dallin, am I pronouncing it? Hi, Dallin. You must be new here. Thank you for being here today. Hello. Deborah. Hi, Deborah. Thanks for being here. Oh, I'm so happy to see all these familiar faces, friendly faces. Wonderful. So let's start today's topic, which is how do you detect, how can you tell if a psychic or a tarot reader are scammers? Okay, first of all, let's start with the obvious. If they have a neon sign outside their building or outside the storefront, they're not the real deal. They're not authentic. They're not, they're not there to help you out. They're there to scam you off your money. Okay, that's the most obvious. Another thing is fairs. When you go to fairs and you see these signs, I'll read your palm, or tarot reading for $10 or $20, whatever it may be, stay away. Okay, because these are not legitimate readers. These are people that just cold read people. And we'll talk a little bit about cold reading and what it is and how these scammers do it. Okay, and I will also talk a little bit about James Randi, if anyone's heard of him. If you haven't, we'll get to that a little bit later. All right, then another one is the price. The price is a telltale. If someone is charging you $10 to give you a reading or to connect you with your deceased loved one, something's terribly wrong there. And it's not about the money. I just want to make this clear. People ask, why, if you have a gift, if you have an ability and you were given this gift to help people, why do you charge? Well, first of all, it's our job. It is our job. We have to make a living too, right? And it's a service. We provide a service, whether it's a spiritual service or not. So we provide a service. So therefore, we have to get paid for what we're doing. It's common sense. Another reason is, and a lot of readers as well will give out free readings when they see that someone is in a pickle, or that's a very British expression, or when someone is not doing well, they will obviously offer that free reading because they want to help this person. They want to help guide them. They want to see what the blockages are, what's the energy around them, what kind of advice can they give them. So it's not all about money, but money, it's an exchange. It's an exchange. And also another thing is that we use a lot of our own energy when we do this. It's draining. For me, it's absolutely draining, especially there are certain types of readings that I do, especially the ones where I channel and I contact deceased loved ones or spirits or spirit guides. That is exhausting. I usually have a headache after that. I need to take a shower. That's the way where I cleanse my energy and allow for things to flow. A hot shower. It's draining, but I do it gladly. It's my job. It's what I do. But on the other hand, you can't expect for any type of reader to give you this service, to give you a reading for free. It's absolutely unfair. Now, another thing is how to spot a scammer. So you might visit a tarot reader or a psychic or a medium, and the reading goes well, or so you feel that the reading goes well. But towards the end of this reading, the reader tells you, I do see that you have a curse on you. There's a curse on you. That's why your life is crap right now. That's why things are not going the way that you want them to. That's why you feel the way that you do. That's why you're depressed. It's a curse. I can lift this curse, but I need $1,000 in my account, or not even in my account, cash. And then I'll be able to help you. Or they will offer to say prayers for you for a big lump sum of money. It could be also that they convince you that you need a talisman or a protection charm or an amulet that they want to offer you to protect yourself from those evil people or from this evil, negative, and evil energy around you. And they'll say, okay, I have this amulet for you. I have this talisman, and this will cost you $500. You run, run for the hills, because that doesn't apply. If there is indeed some kind of, let's say, a spell, okay, because there are spells. There are Wiccans, there are white witches, black witches out there. They do spells, right? So there are different spells. One of them, like I'm gonna say the most serious one, is the binding spell. But if there is a binding spell on you, and say a reader detects that or is able to see that you are bound by a spell, then it's not the reader that's going to help you. You actually have to go to someone who knows about spells. You have to go to a Wiccan or a witch, and they will be able to help you. These are very rare instances, by the way. I'm just giving you very extreme examples just to show you that what you hear, how other people perceive readers is it's false. And it comes from basically people have been duped and they don't realize why they were duped. A lot of these people don't even know why they were duped. They don't, they actually think they went to a genuine reader. Some of them do realize that they didn't, because their bank account's gone really low because they keep sending money or visiting this reader. Now, another thing that they do is scare tactics. So you've probably heard a lot of people say, oh my God, your readings are always so positive. There's your energy. Yeah, that's the way I read, because I do see readings as a positive thing, because your life or circumstances in your life may not be positive, but when you have that reading and you pinpoint where those blockages and those challenges are, that reading is going to help you. So you're going to have a positive outcome from it. It's not going to be a scary outcome from it. I'm not going to tell you, and I'm just giving myself as an example, or any reputable reader out there is not going to scare you into coming back or scare you into doing things, giving them money for them to lift off curses and stuff like that. That's not what a reading is about. So as soon as you hear or see a reader, a psychic, start being negative and scary and dark and trying to scare you, again, run for the hills. Absolutely. Then another thing is, they are under the radar. These scammers are under the radar. So usually they don't have a website. Okay, it's always important. Check if they have a website. What kind of website do they have? Do they have testimonials on that website from clients, from people? How much traffic does that website have? You can tell. There are tools online where you can put in the URL and you can see what the traffic is. So that's also quite important. The other thing is, do you know anyone who knows them? Do they come with has anyone recommended this person to you? No? Well, then that's suspicious. Again, some people just decide to go to readers. Let's say it's your first time and you want to go to a reader because you want to check what's happening spiritually with you. That in that case, obviously you don't know readers. You will ask around, or you will jump on YouTube, or you will just go on Google and start Googling and checking their websites, or you'll go on YouTube. There are thousands of channels out there of tarot readers and psychics and mediums that do this live, or they do videos, and you can tell they're legit. You can tell no one would do this. Like a scammer, someone who's fake, would not do this in front of a camera for the obvious reasons. So that's another one. Now, another telltale is when you go to a reader, normally, and you know this because you've had readings with me and other readers as well, Jenny, yeah, is that when they start asking too many questions from the get-go, that's suspicious. Why are you asking questions? You as a reader with your deck or whatever divination tool or tool you're using, you're supposed to give that information to the querent. Okay, you're not supposed to ask for that information. You can ask while you're doing the reading when things don't make sense, or when the cards are a bit confusing, or the messages that come through, then you can ask questions. Then you can ask just to fill in the gaps, just to make sure that you're on the right track. That's acceptable. But it's not acceptable when you start a reading and they're like, okay, so you want to have a love reading, right? So are you married? Is your marriage not going well? I'm here because you were supposed to tell me that, not the other way around. So that's another telltale. And also they're very vague in their readings, right? So they're very general, very generic, very vague in what they tell you. And you kind of like, and the thing is that a lot of these people that go to these types of readers, okay, obviously there is something happening in their life that is giving them angst, and maybe there is desperation there as well to get some answers that they can't get any other way. So they will believe what they are told. They will start filling their own blanks, basically. You know, it's like when someone tells you something completely vague and you want to believe it, you will make it real in your head. So as you can see, I'm very passionate about this topic, but I'll keep going. So that's another telltale. And also beware of psychic hotlines. Don't. You have to be able to see your psychic, your medium, your reader. It's the best way. Also, you get the best readings are the ones that either in person or either via video chat, because of everything that's going on right now, but where you can see the other person, you can actually pick up their energy. You can do that even through a screen. So hotlines where they say $1 a minute, and then when you run out, they're like, you've got another minute left. You need to, top up your call, otherwise the line is gonna go dead, and then you'll be like, what happened just now? I didn't get any answers. So away from those. I'm not saying that that you do have legit psychics in those hotlines. You do. Yeah. But it has to be a reputable, let's say, website or portal where they work with reputable psychics, where they want to make, let's say, some extra money on the side, but just doing these quick calls. But most of them are BS with capital letters, embossed, underlined, bold, everything. BS. And the other thing is, which I detest, I can't stand it because it makes the rest of us look stupid, is using gimmicks. We're not magicians. We're not in Las Vegas, throwing a show. We're not, David Blaine or whoever out there. We don't need gimmicks. We don't need gimmicks because we have a gift. We have an ability, and we're working with that. We don't have to prove who we are by dressing in a certain way or just using gimmicks. It just looks ridiculous, and it takes away from the seriousness of the topic, of the seriousness of the reading as well. Okay, let me think. I'm trying to think if I've forgotten anything else. These are mainly, I'm going to say, like the red flags and the telltales about psychics and mediums and all that. And you hear every so often, you do come across the news that so and so, such and such psychic or such and such medium is a fake, it's a fraud, they were caught, they made millions, they scammed people off of millions, inheritances as well. It's just a mess, and something has to be done. This profession has to be, in my opinion, more protected, okay? Because it's not what is happening to innocent people who are giving out their savings, hard-earned money to people who pretend that they have a gift, and they pretend. The worst thing is that they pretend they care. They pretend they care about your problem. They pretend they care about helping you out. And what happens is basically they're ruining your life. They're giving you false hope. They're giving you false information, and they're scamming you off of your money. So these are very important things to talk about. Now, before we get in, I have my notes here. So because I forget things, I have too much going on in my head, as you know. Now, I want to talk a little bit about James Randi. I don't know if anyone's heard of James Randi. So James Randi, and he recently died actually, and no one heard about it. No, it wasn't even in the news. Okay. I'm not a big fan of James Randi, but I do appreciate what he was doing. So he started off his career as a magician. And he was born in, he was a Leo, and he was born in August 1928. So before the Second World War, he became a magician, and he was a magician for many, many years. If I'm not mistaken, for over 20 years. He was Canadian American, Jenny, and he was also a skeptic. Okay, he did not believe in readers and psychics and mediums and clairvoyants. He just didn't. He was able to debunk a lot of them, a lot of these readers throughout the years. What he did was that he was a co-founder of the Committee for Skeptical Inquiry, CSI. Not that CSI, but I guess it's a type of CSI for him. And he devoted his life to debunk paranormal and supernatural events or claims. And what happened was, I think it was in 1964, what he did was he came out and said, I challenge any psychic out there who wants to prove to the world and to myself and to this committee that they have this ability and that they're accurate. And I challenge you to come forth, go through a series of tests, and if you pass, you get $10,000. Back then it was $10,000. Today it's $1 million. You know why it's $1 million? Because they haven't found that one person that apparently that is a genuine, authentic psychic, medium, clairvoyant, whatever. He even and I'll get back to that because I want to talk about you. Do you know Uri Geller, Jenny? Do you remember Uri Geller? Do you remember him? Okay, I think he was Russian or half Russian, half American, and he was well known for his ability to bend spoons with his mind. He was a mentalist. So he would bend spoons or cutlery, so keep your cutlery away from him. And he was very famous, especially in the 80s and the early 90s. He was always on TV. He was well known internationally. He was exposed by James Randi for being a fake back in 1972. All right. And in turn, Uri Geller sued him back in 1994 for $15 million. This is crazy. We're talking about crazy stuff right now. All this just to prove that spiritualism exists. And I'm not saying that Uri was genuine. He was a showman. But I mean, the lengths that James Randi went to just to debunk.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
I mean, it's crazy. He lost the case. Uri Geller lost the court case. It was thrown away basically because they were
okay.
Sorry, go on.
Which one? The guy who was
Uri, the guy who bended the cutlery, the spoon.
He lost, but I like
he lost the case. Yeah, he lost the case because Randi had facts. He was able to debunk that and just show the court and show everyone how Uri did it. Now, going back to that award, why am I mentioning James Randi? Because since he's rest in peace. He's no longer here, and probably he's going to come and haunt me. Just joking. No, just joking. But why am I mentioning him? Because he went through great lengths just to debunk basically spiritualism and everything that we feel. Because regardless what you hear, you read, or a tarot reader tells you, or a psychic tells you, it's how you feel. Do you feel that spiritually, right, Jenny?
Yes. I'm always like, okay, am I getting Vader vibes, or is this like a Luke Skywalker? Like, are we with like this light or dark? Like, how do I feel? And I think you're so passionate because this is a bad rap to people like you, light workers that are doing good, and now people that have been scammed. And I saw Dana said it in the comments. They don't believe anyone after that. So yeah.
Why do that? I mean, I'm sure he's experienced things in his life as well.
Yeah.
We all have. Even the most diehard skeptic out there has felt something, or has actually at the back of his mind or their mind, there's always that what if, what if there is life after death? What if we are made of energy? What if, we're all spiritually connected? We all have that. You might not do you might not do anything about it, meaning research or talk to someone who knows, who can help you, but still everyone's felt it. So for me, that was, on one hand, it's good because it was a way to sort of like clear the deck from, let's say, authentic and genuine readers to the fake ones on one hand. But on the other hand, it just caused people to really think that we're all fake. We're all, we're all scammers. But
because people like to stay in their comfort level. I know I didn't believe it. Even I'm looking a year ago, I was terrified of tarot decks a year ago, and now I'm like, I got pink ones and purple ones.
You got a collection now.
I know I sent you a picture. I've got something, but I've gotten Pogs. I've got Oracle Pogs. I told you about. I've got a collection. The point is though that when you're uncomfortable with something, you just shut your mind off to it completely, and I'm guilty of it as well. So I can understand, but there's so much you're missing if you don't open up to someone that's going to actually help you if you need that help. Because these people are dealing with people grieving a lot of times. Like you said, people suffering with anxiety for a certain reason. That's when you're most vulnerable, and people know that. You don't have to be a psychic to know that, so some people aren't, and they say they are. So, and Tammy said no neon. I like that. I can't, you said no neon signs, and that should be a rule. I never said no to neon. Are we serious? No to neon.
I love neon signs. I would love to have a neon sign back there, but I wouldn't put it out in my door and say, hello, tarot reader, psychic over here. Come in. No. Bring your wallet. Come in.
Yeah.
So, that's a telltale, and especially when you walk into these places. I did once just for fun with a friend, because I didn't need to when I was in my 20s, but I just said, okay, let me just check what's happening. And that was in London, in Covent Garden, London girl, Covent Garden. And that was in London. And I tell you, I was creeped out. I was just like, it was dark. It was mingy. It was, ugh. And this guy, he was like, write your name. Okay, I wrote my name. Write your birthday. I wrote my birthday. Then he said, okay, so let me look at your palm. He looked at the palm of my hand, and then he pulled a few cards, and then he just said complete nonsense. Nothing came out. It was just complete nonsense. And it was fortune telling. It wasn't even to help me energetically or help me spiritually. It was basically a predictive reading, which was not predictive at all.
No, do you think there should be some element of advice given to, some people just shouldn't, but some people, I think, like a psychic usually should give you some sort of advice that's helpful, maybe, but not fear. Like they use fear. They're like, you need to come back or else this is going to happen. You have a spell and we need to get rid of it. And it's going to take 8 sessions worth, $999. Like, it's just not good.
Sorry, I'll just bring up Dalston girls comment on, I may have gone to the same place in Covent Garden. Oh no, mine was a woman. She was on TV back in the day, but my reading was terrible, not good vibes. I can tell you where it was right next to the tube station, Bayswater tube station, right next door. I don't know if that was the same place. I think they had 2 or 3 readers. It wasn't just one. And it was a guy, and I think he was, I'm not sure. He wasn't English though. So yeah, I mean, that was an experience. Yes, scammers make you come back. Indeed. Let me just bring Kim and Dana in if they're ready to come in. And Jenny, I would like to ask you some questions about that person that you know that had a really bad experience. Oh, what happened to Kim? We can't see Kim.
Dana.
Hi, Dana.
Hey.
Looking beautiful as always.
Oh, thank you guys. I love you guys so much.
Love you.
Love you too. Let's ask Jenny, first of all, to tell us a little bit more about, so do you know, you obviously know some details. A little bit. Okay. Did this person, what made them visit tarot reader or psychic?
I think it would probably be what you said, depression and grief. And actually, it was a friend that referred this person, and it was just ill-advised because this person didn't really know about spirituality. So it was ill-advised because it was what you said, which was a red flag right away. It was a psychic fair. Just like on vacation, there's a big sign that says psychic fair, turn in now. She did, and that was the end of that. And this situation, I don't know too much about the situation, except that when I was around her, she might get a phone call. When you have a psychic calling you, I think that's a red flag, because why are they doing that? Like, and she would just go white and get a little bit afraid and kind of hide the phone. It's almost like an addiction that you want to look for red flags for, to see what are they hiding. There's something going on. Their personality is changing. They feel like a controlled person, but they're not in a controlling, manipulative relationship. What's going on? You have a very serious problem at that point. So this situation accelerated. And I'm only telling you this because I just want people to be aware it can happen to anyone. The situation escalated to the point where the funds ran out. The entire family inheritance ran out. So this just on one, multiple.
And how long did that happen? What was
probably the course of a year.
Wow.
Yeah.
Whoa.
Yeah.
Okay.
This was that was a very intense situation. And those are those situations that scare you so much that now she was terrified of psychics, and I actually sent her to you a bit ago, and that was the first time she was willing to talk to somebody, and it was a totally different feeling after. It was a feeling of healing, of why didn't I do this 5 years ago? Why didn't I do it years ago? And that was because of the fear of this person saying, your family has a spell, there's a curse, there's a that controlling attitude. The phone calls, something just happened. I just got this message and I need to tell you, or else something bad's going to happen to you. And I don't know how they get the money. I don't know how that happens, but they do. And that's like, I almost feel like there's some sort of, I think there's mind control, because she would tell me she would go in, think she was there for 15 minutes and come out 2 hours later.
Oh, wow. Okay. Never heard of that before.
It's like
a
trance state almost.
Maybe, yeah.
I mean,
the phone would ring and she would change her face, and I'm like, she just went into some sort of trance. What the? And that's what happened, is it came to light because it was so bad. Yeah.
Did she do any spells, or did you?
No, I don't know.
Did this person give the reader something personal, like a personal object?
I think so. And I think
Wrong. Never do that. Sorry,
Yeah.
not to. Yeah, that's
Yeah.
another thing. Never do that
Okay.
because they can pick up your energy and manipulate that energy.
Yeah.
Objects are magnets of energy.
Okay. Is it like voodoo they can do? Like, creepy things.
A lot
Yeah.
of gypsy readers will do that.
Right.
Ask for a ring, ask for a watch, ask
This
for
was a gypsy reader. Yeah.
There you go.
At a fair. And it was just coincidence that this person walked up to this person and these worlds collided. And it was devastating for not just one person, like a family. So you got to be careful. And I mean, even with the ones that are reputable, you said some websites that might be reputable. And I know of a couple like Keen and things like that you hear about. You still got to be careful because I know there's a lot of good ones, but you get one and you can just be like instantly like, this is a bad energy. That doesn't sound right. So don't even really risk it. I would say go to someone that's on YouTube, maybe that like like Tarot that's on YouTube. That's what I found interesting about you is when you started showing up on Up and Adam, and then when I had my reading with you, you didn't question. I would be like, I don't know what you're talking about, and you'd be like, oh, don't worry, you'll figure it out because I'm right. You didn't say I'm right. You were like, I'm seeing olives, but don't worry. You don't understand what that means. You'll figure it out because I'm telling you what I see. And 2 weeks later, I discovered my great grandmother's name, which I was trying to locate. I got a DNA hit on Ancestry was Olive, my grandma Olive.
And that's how we ended the reading. I said, why do I see olives and olive trees?
You said to me, do you garden? Do you like to garden? I'm like, no. I'm like, me neither. I'm like, oh, I like her. We're honest because I don't like to garden.
Me neither. I don't have a green
I've
thumb.
seen olive trees. I'm like, I don't even eat olives, so I don't know. But there's a reason, like you're tuning into something, you're confident. The point is you're confident. And I didn't quit. I knew you were there to help me. Like you're like, even the hard stuff I didn't want to hear. And mostly what I get from readings that are the most helpful is they maybe don't make sense, but you do feel good still. And they make sense like a week later or like, a month later.
But tarot doesn't have to make sense now with tarot because we're looking ahead. We're looking at now and we're looking ahead as well. And tarot is just basically, it's almost like preparing you for what's about to come. And that's interesting. And I'm not talking about, your boss is going to scold you or you're going to lose your job. What's going to come spiritually and to you? What is coming, and that's the point of a reading. It's not so much the predictive, and I know a lot of people want this fortune telling and predictive reading, and I get it and I absolutely understand because the world is crazy enough as it is. We want to have some kind of comfort or some kind of like prediction, right, looking into the future. But on the other hand, it's a reading is especially the way I do it because everyone does it differently. Everyone has different abilities, different gifts, and they have different ways of doing it. For instance, I'm psychic, but I use tarot to switch on and switch off my gift. Okay, that's how I've trained myself to do it. Otherwise, I would go crazy the whole day, and sometimes I can't even. Sometimes I don't even switch it off completely, and I am picking up things, and people around me, including my husband, can attest to that. That it's like, but this is how I do it. This is how and the way I want to do it is I approach it that's why I call myself a spirit coach. It's because it's coaching. Yeah. It's a process. It's not a one-time off. If you want to come one time just for the fun of it, because you've never had a reading and you want to see what's going to happen in the future, if that boy you just met is going to end up, becoming or turning into a good relationship, whatever, it's fine. But if you're really connected with your spiritual core, and you want to have a little bit more control of your spiritual journey, then you need a reader who once in a while, every so often, will help you navigate through life. Okay. And it's not about, please tell me I had someone who said, I play the lottery and I feel that this year is going to be my year. Am I going to win the lottery? I'm not going to even pick up my deck for that question.
No.
Why is that important for your life? What is that important? How is that going to change your life if you haven't healed, if you haven't worked on yourself? It doesn't matter. Any amount of money that lands on your lap is not going to help you. If you need spiritual guidance, that's what you need. You need a spiritual guide, full stop. And it's like going to a therapist, or it's like going to your doctor. You have to keep going. When you feel ready, you can say, I feel ready. Thank you very much. I'm on my own now. That's perfectly respectable and fine. But if, that's the thing. That's why I'm so confident in my readings. I'm like, I trust in my gift. I know I'm not wrong because I trust my guides, because they're the ones who send me all the messages and I channel. So I stick to what I say, whether you want to believe it or not. If you don't want to believe it, fine, but you're missing an opportunity here. Yeah. Because I'm helping you. Or I'm talking like I'm helping you, but I, as a reader, any psychic.
Your intuition picks up on what you need to hear, not what you want to hear. And what you want to hear is predictions, and those aren't even true half the time. Nobody is going to be able to be like bang, 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 bang prediction, because guess what? Tomorrow you're going to change your energy, and something's going to change, and the energy is going to change, and it's changed now. So don't rely 100% on predictions like that.
Absolutely.
That's why I love talking to you. I'm like, I'm kind of, wobbling here, and you're just like, ping, go in that direction, but you didn't tell me to. You just got me back in tune with my own intuition, I think.
There she goes.
Because that's the thing. You have to listen to your own intuition. I'm not God. I'm not Jesus Christ. I'm going to tell you, do this, and this is going to, it's up to you. You are a human being with free will. And in the end of the day, that's what prevails. Free will and your ego. And I don't mean it in a negative way. I mean, because we all have egos, and sometimes, and most of the times, the decisions we make are depending on our ego, pure and simple. So yeah, I agree. It's absolutely all about, you have to do your work. After you leave the reader, after the reading, you have to do all the work. It's not done.
It was like,
there she is.
And I'm just like, I'm going to do the work. I could have made the choice not to, but I made the choice to do the work. What you said, you said the right things probably to inspire that. And that's your intuition coming out. That's your guide. That's my guides, like talking to you. Sorry, I interrupted Dana. Sorry, go ahead, Dana.
No, I couldn't hear you for a minute. But what I was going to say is sometimes unfortunately, some people want you to make every decision for them because they don't want to take responsibility for their own life.
Right.
And that's where you have to say, look, you need more help than this, and you need to make decisions. That's the sad part of it, where they like how some people will drug seek from different doctors.
Right.
Some people get addicted to seeking out psychics.
Yeah, that's what it is. It's an addiction.
That is so true. Absolutely.
Yes. That's the downside.
Mm-hmm.
And I know someone, my best friend's mom is like that. Yeah. She's seen every single reader in this world, and it's because she has that. It's sort of like an addiction. Even though she's found readers, including myself, who have been quite, on point with certain things. No, she needs to keep, searching and finding and wasting money. And I'm like, okay, let her do her thing,
And they want, or they want to be told what they want to hear.
Yes, absolutely.
They keep going until they find the person that tells them what they want to hear, and then they keep going back to that person or anywhere. Yeah. So the next problem
also, like on Facebook, I've had people I don't know that have contacted me to do a reading. Could you hear me?
They contacted me for readings.
Have contacted me to do readings, and they're like, "Oh, you've got to hear this. It's going to cost you $85. You've got to hear this because you've got negative energy. We need to get rid of it. We can get rid of it for another $150." I mean,
right.
Wow.
And that's just been people catching us on here.
But people
So-
are gullible. When you're vulnerable, you're gullible.
Right.
It rhymes. But it's true. And they take advantage of those people. And it infuriates me.
It does me
Absolutely
too.
infuriates me. Gina is asking, are clients always looking for a certain answer or they just read me? Yes. So there are clients that want specific answers on specific things in their lives, and that's about it. Okay. Sort of like I applied to 2 jobs. I heard back from both of them. I don't know which one to choose from. Which one should I go to? Now, what I do is, that's why everyone who's had readings with me, you know that I always start, regardless of what you came to me for, what the question is, I start with a general reading. I want to see what's happening with you now, what happened to you in the past, what is the energy. I want to understand what's happening, how things are moving, and then I'll answer your question. But first, I need to investigate what's going on, because I can see things that maybe you can't see or you don't realize. And usually those readings, when I start with those general readings, those personal readings, am I echoing?
A little bit,
Okay.
a tiny bit.
All right. And when I do that, usually they forget about that specific question and then we go deep. You know, because it's not, if you want to pay me for me to tell you if you should get a Tesla or a BMW, or if you want to, or if you should date this guy, or, you know, what should you do with your inheritance? That's not my decision. And even if I see it in the cards, I don't want to be in that position to tell you what to do.
Yeah.
You know best. You know, it's like I'm like a surgeon. It's when I see you, like you go to a doctor and you're like, you know, I have a pain here, I have a pain here, diagnose me. I can't diagnose you if I don't take x-rays. I'm knocking my microphone off. If I don't take x-rays, if I don't run blood tests, it's the same with readers. We need to get deep down and dirty and really see what's happening. Otherwise, why are you paying us?
When I was doing readings for people, I mean, I have not done it in a while, but when I was doing readings for people, my way of doing it, I do pick up on energy greatly, and sometimes all I have to do is see a face. But my spirit, my soul has a tendency to be evidential.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll go back, unfortunately, go back in history. I'll see something that's in their past first, and then it takes me forward.
Right.
And it takes so much energy.
It does.
Like it takes, and you know, I've got things going on, but it takes so much energy, and I get like visuals, and you give them what you get, and you may have a day where you're exhausted, and you give them what you get, and I would have a problem with, okay, I would be spot on with the little things, and some people just wanted, the more spot on you were, the more and more and more and more and more they wanted.
Mm-hmm.
And not everybody is like that, but a lot of people were not respectful of it, and it became like a drug to them, and they would want to make an appointment like every other day. And I couldn't. I got to the point I couldn't do it anymore.
It's not only that, it's just that you can't do it because nothing is going to change in 2 days.
No. Or 2 weeks or 3 weeks sometimes.
Absolutely. That's why I always say to everyone, 1 month, 2, at least 1 month. Come back in 2 months, 3 months. You know, work. Do something. Work on yourself.
Please. Thank you. Yes. I mean, I'm so glad that you call yourself a spiritual coach, because people need to take responsibility and do the spiritual work on themselves, and not put it in the hands of the reader or the spiritual coach or whatever, because they don't have all the answers. You are giving them some form of medicine, for lack of better. Here's the medication, heal thyself, do the work. And that's when you know that you've hit also a real person because
Right.
they want you to do the work. They want you to do the work. They don't want you to be addicted to them. They don't want you to make an appointment every other day.
Right.
They want
See,
you to grow as an individual.
C. Cruz made the comment about a scammer that worked for donations. That's the way that person on Facebook did me.
I'll bring it up.
Then she started sending me messages saying that she needed to buy her kids food, and that's the only way she could do it is through reading. So if I'd send her money, she'd do a reading any amount. So yeah, stay away from that.
You know, when they start playing on your heartstrings, making you feel bad or guilty or whatever, no.
Yeah, as soon as she started the first sentence, I was like, no, I'm not into you. Yeah, this is rotten.
And use
Right.
your gut instinct. I mean,
Right.
feel the person out. If you feel light and happy and that sense of trust around them, like you're interviewing a babysitter, or, you know, when you're around your friend or a family member, go with that. If you feel a little bit overwhelmed or intimidated, go with that and walk out the door.
Yeah.
That's right.
It's the same as going to a therapist. You go the first time and you see, do I have chemistry? Is this person right for me? You know, is this, because it's all about, so some people like therapists they give out more of a tough love and more of a preach sort of way of doing therapy, and other people just like mild-mannered therapists, for instance. So not everyone is for everyone. The same as Dana says, the same applies for readers, for psychics. Try them out.
I mean, even with therapists, if you end up with a therapist and there's no light at the end of the tunnel and there's no goal where you're ever going to leave that therapist, you're with the wrong therapist.
Right.
I agree. Absolutely.
That's
And
he just goes to the therapist forever. The Sopranos. Do you remember that show? Sorry, I don't know where that came from.
I mean, that's like going to the same class for 50 years.
Yeah.
Right.
Absolutely. You're right. Absolutely. That's a good analogy.
Yeah.
Like going to class for 50 years and learning nothing. Just like your French teacher.
I wasn't going to say anything. I was thinking it, but I wasn't saying it.
Original Dusty Girl asks, what do you think of past life regressions? Good question. I can only speak of personal experience. I've had it when I was doing my A-levels back at school, in boarding school. I chose the topic of hypnosis because I'm a witch that way. And so I did really, I went really deep into hypnosis and past life regression and all that. And I met a hypnotherapist in, that was in Somerset. That's the south of England. And she had an amazing reputation. And I told her, you know, I'm doing this school project and I'm doing it on hypnosis and I want to do a past life regression. And I did it. And oh boy, wow. That's all I have to say. I still have dreams of that experience that I had. It was one, I saw one past life. I thought I would have seen many, but I saw one where I could feel literally everything. Like I could feel those emotions that I was going through. I could feel the clothes on my skin that I was wearing. How people made me feel, how the situation was. It was almost like I was in like virtual reality. Like it was just, and it's a really funny feeling because you feel everything. It's a bit like a lucid dream. So you feel that it's real. Do you know what I mean, Dana? It feels real, but you know consciously that it's not real, that your body, you're physically lying down on a sofa.
I want to do it. So I'm doing it in June. I was looking it up.
I can do it for you.
With what? With Robert Schwartz. He's like some big guy. Have you heard of him?
I've heard of him.
Yeah, he's doing mine in June. I'm so excited.
I have been under past life regression twice, and I've been trained to do past life regression for others.
Go for me. Go for me.
Me too. Me too. I'm in line.
I wanted to.
On
Maybe
my,
we should record it.
on
I
my,
don't mind recording mine.
on my second past life regression, now I wouldn't do it with someone I didn't know. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because like someone I didn't know well, if I'm not there in person, I would be concerned of what they would experience. I would want to physically be with them because I would feel it would be irresponsible. I know you three. I'm seeing four on me on screen. But my second past life regression, I was a journalist and I was a female and I wasn't supposed to be able to do it because I was female.
Yeah.
And it was during the war and it was the middle of the night and I was supposed to do an article about something that came out that wasn't supposed to be known. And I went up to do the letters, the individual letters to put the article out, to have it out by the next day. I mean, literally individual letters to
It's how they
print.
used to print. Yeah, it's how they used to print. They had to put these like individual letters to print these papers.
It was wild. I could see me doing the whole thing, middle of the night.
Oh, I'm getting chills.
And I got it done, and I had a name. I'm trying to remember it right now, but it was a male name, a male pseudonym. And I'll remember it later, but right now I can't because I'm overly excited. But anyway, anyway, I had a male pseudonym because a woman wasn't supposed to do it at that time.
Okay.
I got the article done in the middle of the night. I left. I could see my clothes and everything, and I got shot. And I could feel myself being shot. My body, they told me, we were all laying down. This is when I was being tested. And they said my body jumped off of the ground. They physically saw my body where the impact came. And after that, we looked up the name during that time in England, and we found me.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's incredible.
So we had evidence.
Love
That
that.
would be awesome.
That's cool.
Yeah. Sydney,
Wow.
the first name was Sydney, and I'll have to remember the other part later. I just got the first name, Sydney.
Sydney.
I'll have to remember the second name later.
When you find it, if you remember
Sydney,
it.
Sydney, I think it was Sydney Higginbot or Sydney Higginbotham, something like that.
Okay, we need to Google it.
Research.
Yes, research. This is interesting. But the thing where you said you were shocked,
Yeah.
and you felt it. I also felt it during my regression because I saw my death. Because they usually, when you do past life regression, you normally see they take you either to your childhood in the beginning just to familiarize with your environment and who you are, and then they normally take you towards the end of your life, how you die, because some people have had traumatic deaths, and that kind of like follows you through to your next lives. And I had the same. I was shot from behind, and I had the same feeling, Dana. I had this feeling like, boom, and that suddenly, like your like spirit leaves your body, like it's like catapults.
It's like you could feel the impact of the shot.
Yeah. Yes. And you know, when I watch movies sometimes, and I'm really into a movie, and there's shooting, and someone dies, like they shoot someone. This is really weird. I'm telling you this, but I sometimes feel that pain, even though it's fake, it's a movie, that it sort of takes me back, and I feel that pain. I feel that pain that when you feel that bullet coming in, and then everything goes cold and it spreads out.
Yeah.
You feel that shooting spread.
Yeah.
Anyway, let's not get into it, but it's so past life regression, I highly recommend it. If anyone you have to be brave. I mean, you have to be ready for it.
And you have to be in a stable mindset.
Yes, absolutely. You have to. Let me just read Willow. Hi, Willow. Thanks for being here. I used to do tarot card, and it's draining, and I stopped to do it because it was part of my pagan studies. I did it for free. Sometimes people get mad because they didn't like the result you give them. That's why I don't give out tarot readings for free. because then people just, you give a finger, they want your arm, or
Yeah.
whatever, however that expression goes. So yeah, that's the problem with another issue with giving out free readings to everyone, because then they expect you to drop everything and do that. So boundaries. It's all about boundaries generally, and not just with other people, but with your connection with the other side as well.
Well, I mean, there has to be a spiritual exchange, and I learned the hard way, because initially I felt, I struggled, because I was like, first of all, I felt guilty for having things, and I was like, I felt bad or wrong, and I was like, why did God allow me these if it was bad, right? So you go through that whole Christian thing, and then I was like, okay, I have these gifts. Why am I supposed to charge if I'm already like this?
I know. I was like that in the beginning as well. I felt really guilty for charging.
And then you go through, there has to be a spiritual exchange. There has to be some kind of spiritual exchange. So
there has to be, yeah. And this was taught to me by my spiritual mentor, and she said, never, you're right, there should be an exchange. Never give out, even though you have a gift, you were born with it, don't give it out for free. Respect your gift. If you give it out for free to everyone, you don't respect what you have. You make it accessible, and accessible to the wrong people most of the time, because someone who's going to pay you, they have a reason. They're not going to pay you for a reading if they're not serious about it, if there isn't an issue they need to dive into. If you give it out for free, people will just say, oh, well, I'll take this opportunity because it's for free. And then you start getting those energies in, and then you can't get rid of them.
Right. Or it's like a game and they don't take the whole process seriously.
Exactly.
Is there some sort of, like, psychics, you can't really, there's not a degree that says I'm a psychic. What about for regression therapy? There's something you need for that though, isn't there? Like, or is there not?
What do you mean?
When you go for regression therapy, can anybody do that to you, or can you get scammed from somebody saying they can do that for you? Well, I guess anybody can say they can do anything.
Well, they can say it, but you have to be able to go through the process. If you're not getting regressed, or if you're not experiencing it, you'll know you're not experiencing it.
Right. Yeah. But
so that's a little easier to know.
Yeah, I just worry you've already paid your money, but anybody can scam anybody on anything. I mean, the CRA calls me every day, which in Canada is like the Canada Revenue. I think that's like the revenue agency. It's a scam. It's just like you are arrested for your taxes. It's every day. It's like, it's a scam. It's always, everything in life, you have to use discernment.
Let me just drop the link real quickly, because it's fascinating. It's a fascinating topic.
But she's asking about a degree. I got mine as part of a degree program in my master's program.
Okay. That's neat. I was just curious.
So I just dropped the link if anyone wants to call in and ask any questions or share their experience.
Please call in, somebody.
Please call in. Yeah, we were supposed to keep this an hour, this show, but I don't think that's going to happen because we have a lot to talk about.
Yeah, we're already over an hour.
I know, I saw that. But I mean, let's give people a chance if they want to call in.
Please call in and ask.
There's good questions in the chat here too. Yeah.
It's interesting to me, some of the studies about children having past lives and coming back at 5 years old and remembering details of their past lives.
Oh yeah,
I like reading about that.
I love those. I have like 10 books on that, like Return from Heaven, and like, oh, they're good. And because these kids don't know what they're talking about, and then you're like, well, that sounds really interesting, and they're just saying it, and then they start forgetting it as they get older, right?
Or they talk about they were married to so-and-so and had 2 kids and lived on the street and or piloted a plane and they were shot down.
It's incredible. I love this story too. London Girl is here, so bring her up.
Yay!
Yay!
I love her.
Hey, ladies.
Hi,
What a lovely panel.
Hello.
It's such a beautiful panel, and I've never tuned in for the whole of Mystic Monday, but it's going to be my thing now.
Huh?
Oh,
Hey.
thank
Well,
you.
It's such a rich discussion. I'm really enjoying it, and I like a couple of people posted some good questions in the chat, and just hearing your experiences and of how you've come through your sort of psychic and spiritual journey. It's amazing to hear such, because you never really think about it when you see someone like, oh, how did they get their skills? How did they pick up their how did they realize that they were this person who could feel things and tune into people's energies so deeply? You don't really think of that when you go, I didn't think that about you, Fem. I'm really sorry. I was just like, show me the cards, what do the cards say? I didn't
Flip
really
those
kind of,
babies.
I kind of didn't really consider what your journeys must have been like. So it's really interesting to hear from your perspective how you came to it. It's wonderful.
No, it's wonderful now, but it's been a journey, I can tell you.
Oh wow.
It's different for everybody.
Yeah, I'm sure. And can I ask, do you notice anything with your children because they're so young?
I do.
My daughter is 29 and she's like me. I'm an empath. I can stand next to somebody and feel what they feel most of the time. Some people are blocked, but I can feel what you're feeling. I can experience what you're experiencing. And my daughter has that same gift.
My daughter's
Wow.
not so little anymore. She's 19, and my son that I lost, because of his other abilities, I know that he could feel people around him. My daughter, she has things going on, but they give her anxiety. So I try to help her with that, but she deals with anxiety because of it.
Yeah, a lot
So
of
is it
empaths and gifted people have anxiety disorder.
Yes,
That's
that's what I was finding. Yeah.
Is that because
My
they're
daughter
kind of
tried to shut hers out with drugs and alcohol too. So it's a gift or it's a curse. It depends on how you're able to handle it and use it.
and kind of the anxiety? Sorry, I think my sound's a bit bad. Am I echoing?
I'm
No.
echoing.
No, not echoing. It's just the
Okay,
line is. Yeah. Okay, now it's better.
Okay, so my question was around the anxiety that people have with this gift. Is it because it's so overwhelming and maybe you need a spiritual coach at the moment of realization you have it?
Sorry, can you repeat the question? Sorry, I couldn't hear.
So when with your children and this thing about having anxiety and being an empath, once you discover you have this, if you can handle it, is it important to have then a spiritual coach to kind of guide you on your journey?
It helps.
Absolutely.
I think
Absolutely.
so.
I wish I had a spiritual coach when I was a teenager and I was going through crazy psychic stuff going on, like crazy stuff. And because I didn't have that on off button. No one showed me how to do that. So I was constantly picking up stuff. And I wish I had one back then. It would have saved me a lot of time and angst and panic attacks and a lot of physical issues as well.
I can answer that too and say I've been very blessed in the sense that my spiritual awakening is very new to me and I haven't really gone through the fullness of it yet. And I can tell you that the ladies you see on this screen are like my spiritual coaches. And if question, I'll be like, what's going on? And usually I'll get some reassurance. It's good to have people that you trust that are wise in that knowledge. I'm just very, very blessed.
Wow.
I suffered from a little girl with a lot of anxiety and stuff because of things my mom would tell me. Like they used to burn people like you. And you'd be like, what? And you didn't understand because you were too little to comprehend. She just wanted me to be quiet. But as I got older, I was fortunate to get a mentor out of professors, one in particular that was a psychologist and another that was one of the people that wrote the book I read when I was 12. But with my daughter, my mentors were late in the game, and my daughter, I was trying to help her along the way because when she was tiny, like when she was like 3, she was telling us stuff like nobody knew yet. Like she says, my friend Amy, she goes, she wouldn't even be in the house. She goes, Amy happy. And I said, she is. She was 2. She goes, Amy throw up, meaning she threw up. And she goes, Amy gonna have babies too. And here she is, 2.5 years old, telling me my friend who, had trouble getting pregnant was throwing up and she was happy and she was about to have 2 babies.
Ooh.
So that's when I knew. And she'd tell me stuff like, Mommy, we have to take flowers there. She would point to the cemetery, and she was like 3. And I'm like sitting in the back she's sitting in the back in her booster seat. We're going to the grocery store. And look, I was spiritual and I was kind of like, oh, heck, right? Because I was trying to be science and spiritual. And I'm like, what? She said, yeah, Mommy. She goes, we need flowers to go there. She said, people don't visit them anymore. Their friends don't come anymore.
It's very different when you hear your child.
Like,
oh, yeah.
Because my son said in the car, he said, Mom was my other mommy. And I was like, what?
Yeah.
Mommy? You came out of my, you know what? I mean, I'm your mama. And, and he said, no, my mom is called Marina. And she lives in a house, and the house is blue. He was giving me all these details, and I was like, okay. I always knew this child is super sensitive. I always thought he was an empath. He is an empath, but apparently he's got psychic abilities as well. And we're working on it now. He's 6, so he's too young, but we're working on it. I mean, I've introduced them to tarot. We pull cards. I allow his intuition to kick in. I show him how to use his intuition. It's work in progress. But to be honest, I was shocked, but extremely excited. I was like, yes.
Yeah, and that's what I wanted to ask, because I believe that when you're a child, like if you once you're born and you grow up in a very loving household, these things can just blossom, right? Because you don't have to, you're not afraid of your son's thing. You recognize it. You're not afraid, Jenny. Kim and Don, you weren't afraid. You recognize it for what it was. So my thing is that when some of my friends have children, and I look into that baby's eye, and I just think, this person's weird. There's
like
something
in old soul.
Yeah, and so I'm really interested in perhaps another night exploring that with you, because there are certain children you could see in them.
Mm-hmm.
The worst thing that you could do, though, is tell that child to be quiet, or that they're making
not real.
Up. Yeah, it's not real. Or flip it and say, people go to hell for stuff like that. Don't do that. Don't think that.
Yeah.
You're a witch. I mean, that was one thing I had to deal with.
My daughter was so persistent. I mean, she would never let it go. I dreaded almost passing that cemetery. And look, I'm open and I love her. And I knew what was going on, because I was like, Lord have mercy, this child is holding on like a dog to a bone. So finally, we went and bought a bunch of flowers. And she would tell me which one people didn't come see anymore. And we would take flowers to those. Yeah.
I love that you entertain that, Dana. That's why we love you. I would.
Lunch will definitely. I think we'll just pick up on this topic next week. I think it's a very interesting topic about kids and past lives, and what do they remember, and what to do if you have a gifted child. How to handle this. I think that's a wonderful topic. I have, we lost Tammy. Tammy was backstage, and Deborah is also backstage very patiently. So I think I'll just bring in Deborah. Tammy, if you want to call back in, please do. Sorry.
I'm
Took so long.
down. Thank you for having me.
London girl, I love you, girl. Thank you so much.
Take care.
Bye. Thank you. Bye. All right, Deborah.
Hi, everybody. Hi, everybody.
Hi, Deborah.
Hi.
How are
Hey,
you?
there you are.
I'm good. I wanted to make a comment about, we were talking about how when you go up to somebody and they're fake when they read you and stuff. I've always gone by feeling, and I can, because I'm intuitive, and sometimes I fought that intuitiveness because it's not always something that you want to hear that's coming in, and but I go by feeling, and I can actually feel if they touch me. Does that make sense? I can feel it inside. And I wrote in the comments there that one lady has never, ever lost my thought about her is went into a place that had a hotel and they had a bunch of psychics in there and you paid a separate thing. And I was with my ex-husband at the time and he was very abusive. And this is like 20 years ago. And I was like, we had just had an abusive spout. He brought me there because he knew I was interested, and he was somewhere else. And she looked at me, and I felt her touch me. And then she went into my aura, and then she basically told me, you're in danger, And I knew that, and it kind of freaked me out that she said that to me because when you're in an abusive situation, your first thing is to run if anyone addresses it because you want to hide it. Especially back then. And he came up and she changed the whole thing. I mean, she felt him come up and she kind of looked at him and then she changed the whole thing. And I've never forgotten that woman. Sometimes I feel like she's still connected to me in some way. I've never seen her again. But I always go by feeling, my sons have never said anything to me about anything that they've had intuitiveness. But I've just learned recently, like if I have a dream and I remember it, it always comes true every single time. Otherwise, I remember nothing. And I just learned within the last 2 days, actually, something started coming in and I went, no, I don't want to see that. And it went away. And that's just been the last 2 days. But I'm real open about that more as I've gotten older, because a lot of times you see things that you don't want to see. And I've never been able to control it. Even walking in the store, I'll feel that somebody's like ripping off. And for some reason, they'll be drawn to that aisle and I'll see them do it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's things like that happen to me all the time. And, or I'll feel things when I'm looking at somebody and then later on I'll find out that happened to my friend or, I don't really say it because people get funny, and they don't understand it if they don't experience it.
No, that's true.
I know my grandmother had it. My mother had it for a while, but I think she denied it. And then she started getting Alzheimer's. So that probably was the block. But I could feel things from her. And she always said, my grandmother died when she was young, but she always said that my grandmother had that ability. So
it's usually passed on from a female. Okay, it could be passed on from a female to a male or a female. Usually it's female, but it's definitely it sounds like you have it in your, it's a generational thing for you, and you just need to work with it. I mean, again, I keep saying that it's always finding that switch button, switching on and off. Because otherwise you just get overwhelmed by energies and feelings. And then you start questioning, is this how I'm feeling or am I picking someone else's feeling? And then it's all confusing and you can't go around. So you can experiment, play around with tarot, runes, pendulum. There are all sorts of tools. There's so many tools out there that spiritual tools that you can use to experiment and to see what works best for you. And when you find that tool, then you can just basically tell yourself, this ability, this gift that I have, I will only use when I have that tool, when I'm in this sacred space. It's also good to have a sacred space. And I don't mean you don't have to have an altar or anything like that with crystals, but a sacred space where you can breathe in, breathe out, be in touch with your core and who you are and with your energies as well. Start with that. because otherwise, because you're a sponge.
Yeah.
And it's overwhelming. So you need to work more on it, on this. Try to pinpoint, how is it, when do you get these feelings? Is it through touch? Is it through a close, small space? Is it when you're feeling in a certain way, when you have a certain mood? Because that's another thing. Because we can be a lot more intuitive when we're in a certain kind of mood.
Yeah, if I'm sitting and relaxed and just
Yeah.
let myself go, I have all kinds of things come in, you know.
That's why you need that safe space. So you can say, this is the safe space and I don't allow that energy through.
Yeah.
This is my space.
I need to learn how to control it and when to do it. Definitely. I worked for a company for 14 years in the banking industry, matter of fact, back office. And so people didn't see us, the public didn't see us, but I went through 3 years of layoffs on different days. And I always knew ahead of time before, and you know, it would just be sporadic. Someone would show up with a file and take this person here, that person there. But I always could hear it and feel it a day ahead of time. And you're right, at that time it would be overwhelming because you hear a lot of voices and a lot of mumbling, and you know, then all of a sudden it happens.
And you feel different ways. You have these like, it's almost like you have these like uncontrollable mood swings, and they're not even yours.
Yeah.
Let me just bring in Tammy. Tammy, I'm warning you, I'm putting you on. Because she's been waiting so patiently. So I just wanted to join us. Hi, Tammy.
Hi, Tammy.
How are you?
Hi, Dana. Hi,
Hi,
everybody.
Tammy.
Hello.
Hello.
Thank you.
How are you?
Such an awesome topic. Thank you so much.
Oh, I'm glad everyone enjoyed. We were all so excited about this topic today.
The kids. Do I have an echo?
No.
Perfect. The kids aspect is what I so appreciate that you are dealing with, because as a child, I think that's why I'm sort of screwed up today, is because if a lot of people would have told me what was happening way back then, I probably would not have ulcers by the age of 20 or IBS and huge anxiety issues. As a kid, I was always from a religious family, so you know, you don't step outside for taro, and we couldn't even wear pants. My grandmother wouldn't let us roll dice, so that's where I'm coming from, right? So you were a special child, or you were an excitable child. Everybody always had different terms that you could use. The people that the kids that maybe had some different sensitivities or special gifts, right?
Hyperactive, bad.
We were always termed. There was always a label for us, but nothing accurate, right? So I think the very first time that I think I even thought maybe I was an indigo child in search for something that, where were my people, right? Where's my tribe? Who do I fit in with? A friend of mine was in reflexology, so she sort of got me into that tune of listening to your body. That led on to maybe some mediums, right? And then you have highly sensitive people. Has anybody heard of that? The HSP? Do you all believe in that?
There's various names for it. I mean,
Yeah.
I believe people are empathic and have those sensitivities.
Yeah.
I just believe it's another label people give people.
Yeah. I'm not good with labels. Yeah.
I like labels because it makes me feel normal. Like if somebody else has put a label on it, then I know that I'm not the only one out there, right? I feel like I have a label to something. So I guess I'm sort of the opposite.
That makes sense.
Again, have you ever heard of the Akashic records? I even went through that.
Akashic records?
Akashic records, you know, depending on. Yes, very important bit of information there and knowledge.
So I think that's what I wanted to ask you, and I might have missed it if you answered me before, but as I have been through this journey of trying to find out my label, right, or who I belong to, I have gone through astrology, mediums, numerology, Akashic records, So now tarot, which is a new one to me before I was introduced to you, I thought it was a gypsy thing, right? I didn't believe it. I didn't understand it.
Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
me too.
So when does it get to the point where is it like a hairstylist thing? People don't like you to go to other hairstylists because once you're there, you belong to them, and you should only have one spiritual coach and only belong to one person? Or is it okay to have an astrologer and a medium? Is it okay to have a lot of resources behind you?
Yes, it's okay because we're all different. We
Yeah,
all
I
have
think so.
different gifts and we receive different messages and we work in different ways. Okay, I wouldn't suggest that you go to two different tarot readers, because what are you going to get out of that? But going to an astrologer, I go to an astrologer and I know about astrology, but I also need that sort of objective reading. And I have someone that I go to once a year, and we look at my chart and what to expect. And then I take out my cards while she's doing my chart, and then I pull, and then we do like a combo, like a combined reading. It's a tandem reading, and then I do it for her, and it's so it's of course it's fine. Of course it's perfectly fine to have more than one spiritual coach from different spiritual fields. Of course.
Genres, is that, like music, you say genres, is it?
Well, different spiritual vocations. I don't know how to say it.
I think also if your tarot reader or whoever is that tells you not to, then that's a red flag. Like I mean, they're going to advise you not to go here and go there and go there. But if they're saying, no, you don't need an astrologer, because that person I was talking about, that psychic said you cannot talk to other psychics.
Oh, well, there you go.
Because they were afraid they'd be exposed, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
Or they're threatened, or if a reader or psychic has just began their career, or they're with this path, and they feel a little bit insecure, and they might feel threatened by other people. Yeah, that also can happen. But generally, it's you're free to do what you want and to explore your spirituality in any way you want. And eventually you will end up with one spiritual coach, the one that works best for you.
Yeah.
I mean, in the big picture, can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah, we can hear you.
In the big picture of things, your spiritual journey, it never ends, because the purpose is that you just keep expanding and growing.
Yeah.
As a spirit, as an individual.
That's how I feel.
Yeah, that's how I feel too.
I mean, you never know everything.
I always say, new level, new devil.
What'd you say?
It's true. New level, new devil. Like every time you level up, you've got another problem you've got to overcome.
That's true. That's so true.
The more you know.
The more you know.
More you know. That's so true. But yeah, indeed. And you have to explore what's best for you. And as I said, we all have intuition anyway. So it's how you click with a person, or how they do their reading, their energy as well. Some people might find me too energetic, or too happy, or too, positive, and I'm not for everyone. I get it. I respect that. Not everyone's for everyone. So go out there, explore, and see what's best for you, but you still have to do the work. Not your numerologer, the Akashic records. No one. You have to do the work. We will all guide you, but eventually you have to do the hard work, unfortunately.
And all of the work isn't just about reading or hearing. A lot of the work is about going within.
Meditating
and understanding.
Deep dive.
Whenever I first came to you, I was in so much emotional pain, because that's right after Mama had died. And for you to tell me things that only she knew, I'll share one thing, is during my reading, film kept saying, why am I seeing Dorothy from The Wizard of Oz? And my mom had given me Ruby Red Slippers pen whenever I left home. And there's a plaque on my wall that says there's no place like home. And that was just something between me and my mom. And whenever she said that, I was like, okay, she's the real deal.
And she still shows up to me because Mama always visits me. She shows up as Dorothy. She's wearing the blue dress, the apron, the red ruby slippers. It's like an inside joke between me and Mama. It's really cute. It's really cute. It's really cute.
It's really funny when Mom gets on here and turns both of our computers off at the same time.
She's been behaving today, though. She's been behaving today. It's been very smooth. It hasn't been a manic Monday.
Yeah, she's been with me all day quietly.
I think we have to wrap it up slowly because we've been doing the show for an hour and a half, and I think it's getting a bit too long. But thank you, Tammy and Deborah, for calling in. I really appreciate it. I hope to see you next week as well.
Thank you.
Join the conversation. I think we will continue this discussion as well as the children and past lives, and even and then we'll do a separate, I think, topic about hypnosis and past life regression. We can do a whole topic about that, a whole show about that, and Dana can help us with that.
And y'all, thank you so much for the comments and the questions and the likes. If you haven't liked it, please be sure and like this video, subscribe, share, all the YouTubey stuff.
Thank you, Pantero.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
So I'm going to drop everyone. So we say not everyone, the panel stays. Just to say thank you to everyone who joined us today. It's been a great show. No mishaps for Mama. No technical difficulties. It's been great, right?
Very good. And I don't know why Billy's still napping. Like,
I told you he would. You wore him out. His little temper tantrum wore him out.
He had a temper tantrum, and I said, all right, angels sing to this baby, and we're gonna do this live, and they're babysitting. Maybe Pete's in there babysitting. That the question about whether your child's psychic, my child's psychic. I'm just saying right now. I hear him babbling sometimes.
He is psychic.
Who are you talking to?
He is psychic. It's obvious. I mean, when I first saw Billy, when we did that reading, I was like, Jenny, your child.
What was he? Oh, he started doing this with you. Remember that?
Yeah, remember?
Yeah.
That was probably because his dad was around.
I think so. He's teasing him.
I think so. So Jenny, Kim, and Dana, do you want to please share with everyone where they can find you? Kim and Dana, well, Dana hasn't started her channel yet, but she's about to. Kim, do you want to share your channels and your social media?
Okay, I've got 2 different ones on YouTube right now and on Instagram. One of them is Southern Fried and Gluten Free. That's where you can find me on anything. And then I'm starting one. It's called Unashamed, where you can break the silence and talk about whatever hurts you, whatever nobody else wants to hear about, or whatever you've been ashamed of that's not your fault. Mental illness is one of them. Mental illness has such a stigma attached to it that people don't want to get help, or they're embarrassed to get help. And that channel's to tell you it's not your fault. It's okay. And to reach out to people. I'm bipolar. And we've heard people in here today talk about anxiety and depression. That's okay. As long as you notice it and get help and talk to somebody, break that silence. And that's what that's about.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And then Jane will come along in a little bit and be able to counsel.
No, I'm just going to give advice. I don't do like direct counseling online. That's dangerous.
Okay.
I'm not announcing anything until Dana is ready.
That's right. And I'm not
ready. We're still working on stuff.
It's coming along soon.
Very soon. Jenny, how about you? You want to share your blog? It's been linked anyways down below, but please share. Oops, you're on mute.
Because my dog was barking. Sorry. I have a blog. It's just www.girlmeets40 like 40.com. It's just about me and my life and a lot of growing through grief. I haven't really updated it lately, but I'm thinking that needs to be done.
It's so good.
Really, I don't know, because it's so like emotionally personal, but it was really therapeutic for me to start the blog. So if you are somebody that's dealing with grief, absolutely read some of that, because I think that I can relate. Also, if you want to reach out to me, you can reach out to me through the website or even just on Instagram, which I think is below as well. I've had a lot of people actually watch this show. I don't know if you guys I've mentioned it to you ladies, but they do reach out and they say, my husband passed away. And then they tell me a little bit about their life, and they think that I'm helping them. They're helping me. So don't hesitate to reach out to me, because, like I said, there's a widows club and we don't ask to be a part of it, but sometimes we get put in the club. So
just like the mamas, you know,
the mama club. Yeah.
So when I read your stuff, just even though I hadn't lost a husband, I could relate.
Yeah.
So it's just beautifully written.
The little things, like when you go to the grocery store, things you would normally buy, Noah, that you no longer have on your grocery list. Those are those are the little things that hit your heart that everyone has to eventually face, right?
Yeah, I mean, or there was a part of the aisle that it was hard for me to even look at. Oh, it's still hard to look at sometimes.
Yeah.
So I understand certain things you would buy for Pete. But the point is not about me. I went and read her blog. It's beautifully laid out. The pictures are gorgeous. She writes very well. And I hope she continues. It's worth going to look at and reading every bit of it.
Oh, thank you.
I agree. And I want to say Pete is here.
Hi, baby. Yeah, get giddy still.
Oh, he's here. I can feel him. He's like, he popped up in front of me and now he's back there. And yeah, that's sweet. He's another one who visits regularly along with Mama.
Oh.
And Noah sometimes too, especially in the beginning when I first met you, Dana. I would Noah would pop up, but not anymore. I think he's very busy now, and he's more around you and Eden.
Yeah, he makes things go off here periodically.
Yeah. So because when we first had that reading, then Noah was like for a couple of weeks, I could sense him a lot, feel him. And I could see him like he was a happy child, you know, he was very happy and moving and playing. And then after 2 weeks, he disappeared. But we spoke, and I know why. Because that's when he was more with you.
Yeah.
And showing you his presence. But anyways, we can continue this next week. Thank you all for joining us. Till next time, bye.
Bye for now.
Bye, everybody. Mwah!